Hey, there we go. Right. Let me turn myself down here. Okay, maybe let's make some, rather than making some Ableton racks, let's make some loops. Because I, I'm gonna create some textures and stuff. So, what am I gonna use? Let's use use Reactor, because you can usually get some weird sounds like that. Have Reactor saved? Yeah. Play with the patch. So I don't know what any of this is. um, Pitch into pitch, gate into in, out to out. Note. Notes to, hang on. Note to in, maybe. Or notes to pitch. Gate to in. No. Um, jeez. I have no idea. Maybe let's open up a new reactor. Mods is a bit too much for me, especially the software version. It just spins me out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Turn you down. What's this? Yeah. For a reason none of this is playing. So definitely send a MIDI date to it. Right. Form? The granular one? Yeah. Why does none of this want to play? I'm so confused. Is this a reactor problem? I'm gonna close this down. Start fresh. Okay, let's go. How do we bring in our own samples into this? Here we go.
Transformator.
Is there a way to get a new sound in here? Sound. It just drag sounds in. Oh, I can. The bottom right. Hmm. I have no idea what any of this is. Basically I'm just like fucking about with a fresh patch with some sounds that I just dragged in from a sample pack and just trying to like repurpose, but there's just so much going on here that I just do not understand in the slightest. Hang on, let me pull down OBS so I can see what's going on. There we go. Well, I want to know if there's a way to. Yeah, there we go. Ways you can like play about with the curve as well. What I'm thinking is maybe dragging in like entire musical ideas. That could work. And just like slowly scan through this whilst distorting it maybe. Oh, what's this? What is that doing? Okay, cool. I have no idea what it's doing, but it sounds pretty crazy. Do this on it. Maybe let's just throw some color on it and run that through this, why not? Yeah, leave the reverb dry. Do I have any UE plugins? I don't. I've been meaning to check out Diva. Apparently it's insane. But I've spent a lot of money on plugins and I don't really want to be diving into any more until I've learned the ones I've already got. So the last purchase I made was the Waves Horizon bundle, and I can just click on this and just scroll through here. There's just so many plugins I just haven't even started to look into yet. So uh, saying that, I haven't even looked through Reaktor. Reaktor's a whole minefield in itself. So I think in terms of plugins, for the most, unless if they're mixing plugins, if they're maybe saturation units or something like that, then I'll give it a look, because you can't have enough. They have some cool effects plugins. Let me check out their website. I'll put it over here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So yeah, definitely. I'll go through. I'll be jumping through Addictive Drums in a minute once I get onto drums and stuff, because I love that plugin. It's really really cool. Um, effects. What have we got? Spring reverb. That'd be cool. Bridge delay. I've got enough delay units. Compression. Okay. Satin. I think I've heard of this one. Tape simulation. Now, if I've heard of it, it's probably good. I've seen Mr. Bell use these Ubiq plugins, where he just like copies them over like a million times, and yeah, and just goes crazy with them. Protoverb, experimental research, reverb. That's free. Debating. I don't want to have a look at it. Jesus Christ. What did you say? Brazil. This one. What is it? Just a modular synth. I played about with Hive. Hive was just basically a copy of Serum. No, not Serum. Sylenth, wasn't it? Repro looks pretty cool. Those analog flavors. I've heard a lot about Zebra or Zebra. Yeah, apparently you can do some really cool shit with that. So that would be interesting to play with. And yeah, I'm tempted to have a look at this Ubiq. What is it? Reverb, pre-delay. What is it? 9 sophisticated studio effects, sleek, intuitive, and powerful. Each effect comes with a separate plugin, so you only load what you need for when you need it. Great crazy effects chains or delicate final touches to your projects. Ubiq supports common surround formats. The form to subtle specular. Ubiq is ready. Ambience and reverb, delay, flanger, granular pitch shifter, and phase vocoder, phaser. Okay. Cool. In all honesty, though, doesn't Ableton have all of these built in? I know it's a different flavor and stuff, but it's just like I'm not spending £149 on different flavors of something right now. Yeah, I can imagine Zebra. The thing is, like, like things that are processor heavy or whatever. Like for me, it doesn't matter. My computer's ridiculous. Like, they can handle, you know, from the live streams we were doing before. It was like we were doing 160 channels with like multiple versions of Omnisphere with like tons of Serum, loads of just yeah, Like it can handle. I don't have to render anything to audio or freeze any audio on this computer, and I can just keep it running. It'll never go over like 50% CPU, unless if I'm oversampling stuff. So I don't have to worry too much about things that are CPU intensive, because Omnisphere is probably the most CPU intensive synth I own, and that thing, that thing crashes my laptop, but on here, no problem. So I'm gonna try and make some ambient sound. It's just it's a basic i7. I think I forget it's the top of the line i7 from like a year or two ago, and it's water cooled, so like whatever whenever it's under load, it's just kept at a really low temperature. I've got like 64 gigs of like the highest speed RAM that the CPU could handle, and like it's just important to get loads of RAM, because if you're running samples into a like let's say I drag in some samples here, just drag that in. If you had like a million, well, not a million, but like let's say you had like 100 audio samples in your computer, if you highlighted them all and opened up here and then click this little RAM button, wait, can you see that? Yeah, just above my head. That RAM button will put all of the audio files into your RAM. Yeah, I think mine's was it 8700? I think. Yeah, that's what I'm encoding this stream on. So I've got a 1080 Ti. Maybe. I haven't, like, when I go into Ableton's options, like, it doesn't say anything about graphics and stuff. Like, it's audio, and you can choose yeah, I don't know. I guess if you went into some of these things, you'd probably find something. Or maybe it's within like your plugin preferences. I'm not sure. Yeah, it cost me an arm and a leg, man. I bought it when there was like what was it, when I built my PC when everyone was building those crypto machines as well. So like there was massive inflation in the price. So what would have cost me maybe $2,000 to build a PC, it cost me like 3. So it wasn't the ideal time to build a PC. But when I did it, like I never looked back. It's even worth the inflated price, because now I can do whatever I want on this machine. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we were making stuff in Form, weren't we? And then I was gonna put, what's it called? Shimmer. So yeah, instant atmospheres. So I'm gonna record a bunch of these and then I just drag different samples into this so that I've got like the same effect but different timbres. So we'll record at 140. We'll do a bunch at 140 and then a bunch at 173 because I'm doing a dubstep and halftime sample pack. So we'll set this out to be 16 bars because then we can play about with some of the stuff in here. So insert MIDI clip. Everything's going to be at F for these ones just because F is the most used. It's the most used key. It's not my favorite key. I really like D sharp because it just sounds evil. But for some reason F is the standard because it translates the lowest on most club systems. Not a lot of subs and commercial subs go down below 40 hertz. So just a pro tip: if you're writing in D and you play it out, it might not translate on a system if you're not playing on a huge, well-tuned system. So let's record in from Reaktor. Turn that off. Cool, that'll do. So we'll consolidate that. Give it a listen. Yeah, that sounds evil. What should we call this? Right, I need to make a folder on my desktop for the sample pack as well. New folder, sample pack, sounds, go into new folder. So we'll do drums, new folder, effects, hang on, show an explorer, drag that back out into drums. So effects, drums, bass, leads, pads, what else? Have a look at other sample packs. We'll use Sample Phonics as an example because I like that shit. My samples, Sample Phonics, Astral Beats. Right, we've got loops, one shot. Alright. Loops, one shots, and sampler instruments. Idea for a video, file organization, and how to stay on top of it. I need to watch a video on someone who does that because my sample organization's fucked. I've got so basically my SD card, which is held in the back of this, I transfer over to my laptop when I go to uni, and it's just a amalgamation of everything that's I've ever come across with music. I've got it backed up on like a little hard drive as well, but like my SD card's where I run all my samples from, and that's plugged into my computer at the minute. And then basically all I've done is just organize everything by Ableton's new like color code system. So I've got like my favorites, and that way I can just dive into here and jump into my favorite samples. And then if I want to if I want to dive into the SD card, then I have to like sort of trawl through all this shit to find anything. But I'm slightly organized, but not really. Because the thing is, once you get too organized, I just like I have sat down and fully organized my laptop, and what I did was I purposely made a mess of it so that I could feel creative again. Because as long as you know where your sounds are, the thing is, if you're creating sounds from scratch, you need to be organized with it because you need to give those samples a place to live. So that's important. But if you're working with audio that you haven't made where it's already organized for you, then you can sort of get away with being a bit messy with it all, because once you find the pack itself is organized. But in terms of you making sounds, are you going to have a bunch of things on your computer labeled audio 1 with date on it, and then some random string of numbers after that, like 3 dash audio 1 dash 20 2020 04 13 225426? Like, no, you're not. So if you're going to be making sounds, I recommend dating them. So like if I go into my projects, open recent, I've got low end mixing tutorial beat bass session 230320, sample pack 3-minute mix, blah blah blah, drum session 220322. So I normally label my sessions that if they don't have a track name, because by the time I get the idea down for a track, I have a name for it. So I'll either name it, Osco dash name of track and date. But if it's not something that's got a distinct thing to the project, I'll name it whatever the project's for. So drums project, date, and then I know roughly when I made it. And then if I'm looking at it from a recent perspective, then I'll know, oh, okay, I remember when I was making drums back last Friday, so it has that date on it. So then I can work from drums from there. But in terms of actually naming projects correctly and having an entire file organization system, I don't have one in place. But when I get paid on payday, which is either tomorrow or the next day, I will be buying a external hard drive where I have all my backups to, and then I'll have like I want to look at the website or the forum page Dogs on Acid and see what people are doing on there, because it's a drum and bass forum that Noisia have done a bunch of Q&As on, and I know their file organization system's insane, and I want to see if they've left any tips for how to name and organize files for that, because I'm starting to incorporate a lot more of their workflows as of recent, and it'd be cool to see how they organize all their files and stuff as well. So let's go back to desktop, loops. So pads, well, this would be in atmospheres, wouldn't it? So open up this. New folder. Yeah, keep it all in one place. 100%. If you can, because computers fail and things like that, I'd recommend getting an external device that holds all your samples on it. So at the minute I'm using an SD card, but I've had a laptop go down on me before, and I lost all my samples about 2 years into producing, and I had to build them all up from scratch. And the amount of times, my mate Jack, aka Beanzo, he lost his PC, and he had like I think 8 years worth of sample collecting on there or something ridiculous. And yeah, like he's only just got it back up and running, thank fuck, and he got most of the hard drive restored. But like, would you risk losing your entire sample library over not backing it up on an external device? Like, it's not worth the risk. Like, computers have failures, and you need to back them up as much as possible. Like, when you've been doing it as long as I have, and then you've lived through the mistake of not backing anything up, it's a mistake you only make once. And if you've not made it yet, trust me from my experience, you don't want to live through that. It's horrible. Fun fact: my track for Dotblock, Snake Charmer, if you listen to my version on SoundCloud compared to the version that's on the YouTube channel, they sound slightly different, and there's instruments missing and stuff. So I made the original version of Snake Charmer before that crash, and then had to remake the entire track from scratch, without any reference, just that little clip on SoundCloud. And luckily I found the some of the samples again through places where I remembered to find the samples from online, but I couldn't find all of them. Like, I had contact libraries missing and all sorts. So yeah, I had to remake that entire track from scratch, which was beyond stressful. Like, the guy who runs the label was hitting me up every day, like, have you finished it yet? Have you finished it yet? I need to, like, deadlines in a week. I was just like tearing out my hair, and finally got it done and sent off, and it was just like, super stressful. How long have I been producing? I've been producing so I got Logic for my birthday when I was 17, and I'm 22 now. Granted, for the first like year or two, I wasn't super serious, but I don't know. I'd like to say I've been properly producing for about 3 years, 3 to 4 years, but I've played about with digital audio workstations for about 5 years, give or take. Played about with GarageBand a little bit earlier than that, but I wouldn't really call that making any leaps forward in terms of knowing any more than I did before I got Logic. So we'll throw this into audio/video 3. Call this dark wide. Wait. Hang on, what are we calling this? Halftime. So HT underscore. I made a whole like pitch for this sample pack. I'll show you guys it because it's a cool pack. It's a little bit of a preview into like what I'm actually going to be doing. That this is a massive project that I'm going to be doing, and hopefully, everyone who's on the Patreon will get a copy of this for free if you're on the $10 tier. But I hope to sell this to Splice or to Noise or like some big sample pack company, and hopefully get a bit of a kickback for it. So if I drag the chat back over here so I can see it. So you guys should be able to see this now. If I open up this. So basically, like this is the artwork that I did for the track, and we just go through it. So it's just some examples of the of the track and like what halftime is. So halftime drum and bass is basically influenced by dubstep, and then dubstep is like double time dub. So you know, it's just like dark bass sounds. I've put the library proposal out there. So this pack aims to be a total toolkit for any producer to have all the tools needed to learn and make their own industry standard halftime music. People that have been influenced by like a bunch of people like G Jones, Doc Crawl, like Hybris, Matzo, EPROM, Noisia, Alex Perez, Ivy Lab, Pasai, and then there's a bunch of like other guys, like Peekaboo inspired sounds for like all the UKF dubstep people and stuff. And just about my like file organization, I want the pack to be about 1 gigabyte big. The contents of the library, so most of it will be bass and instrument loops and some one shots and like some drum loops, and then a bunch of effects and presets and wavetables. A bunch of Ableton Live drum racks that will all be synthesized sounds, so you guys can like jump in and deconstruct how I make kicks, how I make snares, the processing that goes on those. Live instrument racks. So there'll be a bunch of operator bass racks, Serum bass racks, reactor bass, atmosphere pad racks, and like granular effects racks and stuff. Ableton Live audio effects racks. So there'll be a bunch of processing racks for effects processing, bass processing, and drum processing. And these will be all made with Ableton stock audio effects, because for compatibility reasons, and there'll be more creative effects than actual mixing tools. There will be some mixing tools in there, but most of it will be like creative effects, because I prefer to mix with third-party plugins, and I like to be creative with Ableton stock because they tend to go a bit wild, and then they kind of like work for you. So then there'll be operator presets, like a bunch of those, like pads, basses, effects. I'm not sure if I'll do the FM8 presets, because if I'm doing operator, like with FM8, yeah, you get some cool feedback features, yeah, you get some cool LFO features, yeah, you get more operators, but like operators. You can, if you run out of operators, you make an instrument rack and duplicate the thing, and now you've got 4 more, and you can do that over and over again. So, I might leave the FM8 now. Then Serum and Wavetable presets. So I'll include a bunch of Serum presets and stuff, but I'll also try and duplicate the Serum presets into Ableton's Wavetable, because not everyone has Serum. But then if you have Ableton Live, then you'll have Wavetable. So that's why I'll be making those. They'll be as close to carbon copies of the Serum ones. And yeah, that's just going into those. Audio loops and one shots and what I'll be doing. So this is what I was looking for, my file name convention. So HT, descriptor, BPM, and key. So I'll just quickly put that in here. Is it HT, descriptor, monster stereo, Atmos, monster stereo Atmos, 140 underscore F. Boom. Shit, I think I bounced up to the desktop, didn't I? Yeah, let's put desktop sounds. Yeah. I'll move those into the, where have I put the other folder? Atmos. Cool. So that should be now in there. cool. So what I'll do is just make one of these each, I guess. So we'll make a bass sound now, and then we'll make some drums. So now I'll open up Addictive Drums. What I want to do is in here now create a, what will I create? Do a 2-bar razor patch. So I'll remove all of these. Actually, no, wait, no, I won't. I'll put those back, group those, and make this my Atmos effects rack, and save that to my favorites. So I can grab that again. Let's open up Razor. So Razor's really cool. It's a bit limited. It used to be known for being like super CPU intensive. I'm not sure if it still is because of this computer, but it's got some crazy sounds that you can do with it. So let's go to Formant. What's going on? There we go. Then you've got like some crazy I have no idea how this synth works. I think what's cool about this synth though is that you can route things separately, so I don't think Oscillator 2 has to go through these filters. You know what? To avoid all confusion with sub bass and shit, I'm gonna trust the operator underneath it. Do what I want, right? And this, okay, I can go here and be high pass to 100 hertz. Oof. Got a soothe on that as well. You guys haven't seen this thing before, and you haven't like seen me rant and rave about it. This thing is fucking sick. Razor's crazy, man. Like, there's just it's almost as cool as Harmor. I haven't got Harmor yet, but I've been binging videos on it, and it's an additive synth. So basically, rather than having a sine, you have a wave, and then you use a filter to take away from the wave. It basically plays all these little lines are individual sine waves being produced by the synth itself. So what happens is if I go to, if I turn off all these filters and other devices, so yeah, massive part of Tipper's sound. Yeah, if you hear his tracks, like what I'm gonna do here is all of these harmonics in this wave are all individual sine waves, and like if I boost this and move this cut off, wait. I don't know if I can boost that anymore. But yeah, like it just, that squelchy sort of sound is like Tipper's thing, isn't it? So yeah, basically, like, because this is an additive synth and it can do all this crazy shit, rather than having like normal sounds and like its oscillators, you can have like, yeah, man, I'm waiting for Harm to go on sale as well, because if it does and it's like less than £100 or less than $100, then definitely getting it. The user interface just looks so easy to use compared to this, where everything's a bit hidden and like got some cool, like, a pretty cool interface to it. And like some presets kind of crazy. Like, that is a super convincing choir. And it's just formant filters with the vowel filter on it. Like, that's insane that you can get that out of an additive synth. Apparently, additive synths are the best for making wavetables as well, because they're just super clean. What I need to do is read the manual for this synth, like, because I can probably, like, I would do it now, but then you guys would just get bored of me reading a fucking manual. But every time I've read the manual to anything, I've just gotten so much better. Like I come out from the whole experience feeling like I made the synth. And I read the Ableton's manual once. Like before going to bed one night, and like went into uni the next day being like, yeah guys, there's just too much cool shit in Ableton that I didn't even know about. hear potential. Don't quite want an amp, but old tape, maybe? No. One tape. Let's take the drive all the way down. Jesus. Sorry guys. This shit can get messy with the feedback. We put a multiband on the end of this as well. Yeah, sorry man. I'm sorry about that. The amount of times I've like knocked my head off doing this. I'll be listening to a mix at full volume, like getting a feel for the bass, and then like I'll go to work on a new patch, whack this in, turn the feedback up way too hard, and then just like literally like wake up everyone around me, and I'm only using my headphones. Should I burn in my new M50s? To be honest, like in terms of burning in equipment, like as long as you're listening to music, like the thing is, they don't change that much over time. Like all the burn-in period is doing is moving the drivers, because you know it's like, how can I say this? You know, like a leather bike seat. When you sit on those, like you know, the first time you like ride it, it's uncomfortable, and then like over time it like molds, or like an old hiking boot. Um, like when you buy like new boots, like Doc Martens or things like that, like you wear into them, and they just become more comfortable over time. Like the more you use the headphone, the more you know, the drivers will have worn in. So you can burn them in, but the thing is, like, you're still gonna have to get used to the sound of the headphones. So just adjust with the speaker adjusting. Like it doesn't make too much of a difference unless um if you've been using a pair of headphones and then you've bought that same pair of headphones again and you want the same sound, then maybe you might want to burn them in. But if you've just got them and you've never owned them before, don't worry about burning in. You'll adjust to them over time. I'll put that afterwards. That could be useful, I guess. We'll bounce that to here as well. And just like throw a fade on that. Oh yeah, quick tip as well. If you're using, if you go into here and into your preferences and yeah, I think you go to record, warp and launch. Is it this? Or is it audio? I think. Where is it? Yeah, so was it loop and warp short samples? So I left out not wait, where is it? That's it. Create create fades on clip edges. If you turn that off, when you're dragging in one shots, like what I realized was when this was on, because it's on by default, it was shaving a lot of transients off of like snare drums um and kicks and stuff, and there's just like important information missing right at the beginning. You know, like these tiny little pitch things that are like literally a tenth of a millisecond long. They'll be chopped off. So like you'd have that, whereas you'd be missing all this punch from the beginning of the sample. So yeah, just things to keep in mind. If you like, it means you have to manually bring in fades and stuff because they'll be non-existing. But you know, if you don't mind the extra thing of having to bring it in just to save transients every time, saves you making a track and then going through and being like, oh, my snare's not punching. It's like, oh, now I've got to go through every audio sample and move the fucking fades. So, pro tip. What am I doing? Bouncing this out. What does this sound like? I'm gonna call it Doomsday 808. So we'll go into desktop, sample pack, wherever that is. One shot space. And then what I'll do at the end of this, like once I've made all my samples and stuff, I'll master them all in the same project so that, or like not all the sounds at once, obviously, but I'll drag like all the basses into a project to make sure they're all hitting the same volume, and then process them all with the same like kind of saturation and the same extra little bits on there. Because obviously I've got Saturn and Pro MB and Soothe on here, but like whatever harmonics this plugin is adding, this plugin is taking away. So if I just keep like a simple chain when I'm making the sounds, then I can use a complex one on all of them to give them the sort of character that I want. So delete that. What's the next thing we're working on? Drums, cool. Go into addictive drums. Boom. They just sat like all these drums just sound record ready. They're great. Yeah, I like that one, but it needs more cowbell. I don't have these kits. I only have Black Velvet, Fairfax Volume 2. So probably just go for the kit. Let's have a look in the kit. So within here, I can go into the edit section of each kit, so I can go to the snare, edit it. And then there's all this crazy, yeah, you can choose like the mic positioning and like how much of each mic is coming through, and you got more of a top sound. Or a bottom sound. And you can go into like the pitch envelope and change that. You can go into the kick and make it super like artificial, so and then for bass music, like you want your kicks pretty short. You don't want them too tight. Can you change the mics out? Probably in the full version. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't used this all too much. I remember Noisia saying in a Future Music video that they could change the mics out, but I'm not sure if I have that option in my version of this. I could be wrong. Yeah, to my knowledge, no. But I could be wrong. Let me group this and put a room reverb on there. Why does that sound so weird? And then drag a operator below here. So I want to tune this to F. So if I pitch this, scale, no, not scale. Well, scale could work, but and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Yeah, no. So I'm playing an F note, a low F, down here, and then what I'm going to do is go up and change this. Because there's, well, basically what you could do is a way of finding a happy medium is by going into audio effects, and I think Corpus has, yeah, if you grab a Corpus, put it on the end, and then put the dry wet to 0, so you're just using this tune feature in the middle, you can find out. So I'm playing an F1, so that'll be, well, my fundamental of the kick is hitting down at 40 something hertz, so maybe what I'll need to do is go up an octave and then maybe no, sustain down. Maybe make that 12. You know what, I'm going to make it long, but then chop it out in audio. So now what we can do with the Corpus is find F1. That's sitting at about 80 odd hertz, 80, 90 hertz. Now you want to take an octave above that. So we go up to F2, so it's 179 hertz, 176 hertz. And then from there, I can take this up to 176, which is where I want this to sit, so I can see that it's a little low. So what we're going to do is bring the main pitch up. I'm not even looking at the right thing. So that seems about right. That sounds in key, give or take. Then what I can do is lower that down so it's not so prominent. And then distort it together. And soft clip it. Maybe you lower the pitch of this original. So this kick will still be in key, but the fundamental is going to be removed. So maybe then instead of putting it in a room, maybe I'll get rid of that. Maybe bring this down. So we're sort of only using this for the transients now. I think it's this lower one that's clicking. Yeah, because it's not decayed properly. Maybe we'll just I think of what the best way to do this is. Try a Saturn on here. Multi-band it so this lower one's not being affected, and then cool, we can try recording this. So now we've got a bit of audio here that we can play about with. You want to get it like bang on. And then, right, how long is this sample? This sample is 2 milliseconds long. I think. So it punches through at all the right frequencies. Nice and squared off there. $107. Yeah. That's about as long as I want kicks. Fab.sound, how's it going, man? Yeah, so normally I like my kicks around 100 milliseconds. That way it gives, because normally with sidechain you're ducking out the entire signal for the hit of the kick. So, yeah, like you would say if you've got a bass which is a bar long, you've got all this space now to play about with, whereas if your kick's like coming out over 100 milliseconds, like if I go into a dubstep sample pack, so whereas Cymatics, for example, will go into their kicks. Drum and bass, hang on. I think yeah, drums with dubstep. Going to kicks. Oh. Actually, they've got some pretty short kicks. Maybe they know what's up. They've got short kicks. What are short kicks? If they're long. But yeah, you see what I mean? Like, right on 100 milliseconds, pretty much. Okay, that's a bit longer. You wouldn't want that one, but I think that's just the high end ringing out. Yeah, so the main body of the kick. The pitch transient's a bit higher, but you know that they're trying to cut through loads of mid-range sounds with this sample pack, whereas my sounds are pretty low in terms of frequency. So this kick will do. Maybe a bit of EQing. Now you want to be careful when you're EQing kicks as well, because basically if you're boosting a signal, you'll extend its time. So you can see here now it's like 100 milliseconds, but if I bounce this back out again from audio 3, you can see it's extended it by punching in that low frequency. By giving that boost by like 1 dB, it's extended its linearity, so it's now almost double the size. It's kind of changed the way that this looks. This is quite a clean movement. Now it's a bit all over the place. It's also because it's massively distorted, but hey, what are you gonna do? I like this kick, so we'll keep that. Edit, export, 3, export, one shots, drums, new, kick. Bullet, sub, thump, sub thump, kick, 01. Or maybe, no, because underscore kick 01 underscore sub thump kick sub thump F. Save. And then what's next in the pack? Drums effects. Cool, so you can make some white noise effects. Noise wipe. Might be quite loud. Yep. So we'll just throw an envelope on here. LFO on filter, I guess. Bandpass. Set it somewhere in the middle. And And then rather than maybe I want to sync that as well actually. Maybe throw a shimmer on here and see how that sounds. I mean, we can record that. Oh. Operator. Did that even record? Looks like it. What do you mean? Knew I weren't human. Right, let's export. Hang on. Half time. White noise. Oh right. Yeah. This what is it? This Voicemeeter thing that I'm using to record the audio is just super buggy. Like I need to get an external mixer, I think, and then record through that. But this thing, it's got loads of bugs. It's free software, so that, you know, I can't really complain. But I'm still going to complain because it's shit. Right, white noise. Down the 140. Ah shit, I saved that in the wrong folder, didn't I? Desktop, drums, one shots, drums, kicks, effects, E folder, white noise. up, down. Static. Can you not just record into Ableton? Does the stream need it for its own source? Yeah, so like I'm recording with OBS. So basically, this needs a mic input, and what I've done is set that this acts as like a virtual microphone for the stream. So I set this up to read my interface's input, and then the virtual input, which is Ableton, and then that feeds that out a virtual output into OBS, so it captures both my audio being spoken into here, and that without interfering with the audio that's coming in here. So if I want to resample, for example, which I've just done here, I can do that without resampling like audio and creating feedback loops. There's still ways to create feedback loops, which you heard a second ago, but it just allows me to talk freely over the music that's going on in here without, you know, having Ableton constantly read the vocals coming in, because there'll be an input delay compared to the, you know, either what the camera's picking up or whatever. I'm not sure how it works. I've read a tutorial that was like how to stream, and then I took that and realized that OBS has a recording feature and a streaming feature, so I started the channel from that. That's loud. What I need to do is compress that actually. If I boom. So if I bounce, I throw that in there and then resample from 3 in. Chord? No. Chord. With overdub on. Record. Fuck. What's going on? In 3, post mixer. Chord. What am I doing wrong? Resampling? What is going on? This is overdub, right? MIDI arrangement overdub. Session record button. How about you record audio 4? Set that to auto. No? Now, can I lower the volume of this? Boom. Take that. export audio 5. One shots, effects, white noise, down. Save. Yeah, I don't even know. When it gets grayed out, what you mean when it's in like session view mode? So like, you're running something from here, and it goes like that. That basically means that it's running from the session view rather than the arrangement view. So it just means that it's ignoring whatever's in that lane and then is processing it's just choosing that thing over what's in the arrangement view. And I think if something's playing in here, then it will ignore or grey out whatever clip you've got in here because you've chosen to work in the arrangement view. So what's the next thing on the list? FX, leads and pads. Right. Leads are pretty simple, I think. It says with a lot of confidence. Hang on. How do I do the lead for my halftime track? There's just lots of distortion, I think. Duplicate this a shitload, I guess. More. More. Just duplicate it so many times to the point where it just fails. I put a limiter on this as well. Boom. Duplicate that. Whoa, that's cool. I'm just hitting that once. Let's duplicate this all again. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. Try putting a reverb before that. Or delay even, that'd be pretty cool. Is that the tape? Oh my god, get rid of that. Jesus. Fucking hell, right. Dude, I don't know what this is. This is stupid. That's what this is. This would be cool to run through a granulator. Let's record some of this out. Turn off loop and just start recording, I think. Is the way to do this. Different reverb algorithms. Oh. Which means disk space is too low. Shit. I'm gonna have to remove some videos, I think. Delete that. Delete that. How much have I got on here now? Jesus. Okay. I need to clear out my disk space. Ow. Shit. Sorry. Painful. Alright, have a look at what this waveform is, and it's just an utter mess. I like some of these tones that are coming out the end of it though. They're like kind of artifact 808s. Like the delays and stuff. I could chop that out. Maybe process it a little bit further and see what I can get. Like. Really crisp transient on that. Utter. Ugh. Is what that is. Maybe run that through a Saturn as well. Well, no, just been run through about 1 million Saturns, but maybe one more won't help. Will help it a little bit. No cleaning. Maybe no water. Yeah. And bounce out that. Well, actually. it back through your Saturn chain, yeah. Fuck me. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna have to lower the volume for this. Render it out in this one. See what that sounds like. Yeah. In. Record. I don't know what's going on here. There's like these artifacts that are being introduced, like it's the one lone artifact, and then like all these crazy ones. I'm gonna run that into a granulator and see what this looks like. Max devices, granulator. Alright, it's asking me to uninstall a bunch of shit. I guess I don't need that. Pull that off screen before it gives away any of my information. Need to uninstall big shit. Don't use Office, fuck that, uninstall. Yeah, uninstall that shit. Remove. Minecraft, yeah, get rid of that shit. Is this all on my C drive? What? Contact libraries are on my C drive? Why? I never use any of these drum libraries anyways, so Uh, uninstall. Cool. Can I organize this by size? Surely. Size. There we go. Jesus, that's a massive library. You know, I'm gonna keep that just in case. You know, I can install that because I've run out of license on that. And I can uninstall this because I've got Photoshop now. And uninstall that because I have Premiere. Sorry, this must be boring, guys. I'm just going through a bunch of shit so that I can actually resample shit. How's my C drive looking now? What? Free space 2 gig. That's all I got rid of. I mean, I don't think this is on my C drive. What else is on my C drive? I need that. Install. Um, what have I got on my desktop? Anything large? Hmm. Anyone got any suggestions for cleaning up the C drive? Because I've got so much shit on there that I didn't know. I had like 20 gigs free on it the other day. I don't know where this has all come from. And get rid of that, I think. I guess downloads are in the C drive, aren't they? Oh no, D drive. Okay. Desktop properties. That's in C. Documents. Switch to Mac. Yeah. It's alright. Only a couple more days, and I'll have my hard drive, and I can just dump a load of shit on there. I just wish you could like go into Windows and just like into the C drive and just be like, right, what's the biggest thing on here? That you can't. It's so annoying. Oh well, I'll sort out in the morning. Right. Run it through another Saturn. Just keep distorting it. Arrange view by file size, delete what you can. Yeah, so like when I do that, hang on. So when I open up Windows and go to the C drive, like size isn't a thing on here. Like I don't know what to go into. Yeah, he just doesn't want to organize things by size. Properties. Oh, maybe it's analyzing it still. So apparently there's 10 gigs in that. In this thing here. It should probably be like all my Waves plugins and stuff. Properties. There's 1 gig in the NVIDIA file, which I don't really want to mess with. Nothing in there. Program files. So there is a lot of space in this 7-zip. Jesus. Okay, that's gonna go. Hang on. Wait. Open another program. What do you mean? Okay, well, what's in here then? I'm so confused. Oh, what? Oh, okay, so this is just reading the C drive in general. So, properties of this file. Well, hang on, surely. Oh, this is taking up a shitload of space, whatever this Adobe one is. 20 gigs. Common files, properties. Is that 7 gigs? What's in here? Surely I can delete the Avid one. Two gigs in that. What's this? Okay, I think I can delete that. Sweet. Um, quite a bit in here. I think I can delete that as well. There's not much in that anyway. Steinberg, how much is in that? Sorry guys, this is the most interesting stream in the world, I know, but okay, there's quite a lot in there. Let's delete that. Okay. Okay. That's in the program files. Boom. 5. Empty that recycle bin now. Jeez, 16 gigs. So yeah, I'm not the most organized person on the planet. But what can be cool now is if we play it on a reverb. Kind of sounds like the Carnan Meek. Send this into there and record this out. And then alright, I'm getting tired now. It's like nearly 1 AM here. I'm gonna end the stream. Sorry it was so boring. But yeah, it's just me digging through files. I'll probably edit tomorrow just to cut out all that file bullshit, and then you guys can watch the rest of it, and I'll carry on with this at some later date. Yeah, thanks for everyone who's tagged along and stuff. I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Peace.